The Creed branch of the Rocky series has always been focused on leaving a legacy. The journey of Adonis Creed has been one of emerging from the shadows of earlier generations. The plot of the title character departs from Rocky, giving Creed the chance to stand alone, and giving Jordan the chance to make his directorial debut. Although Michael B. Jordan creates a shadow of his own in his feature film directorial debut, Adonis is depicted in Creed at a point in his life when he has completely come into his own as a man. A model of idealized masculinity Jordan feels extremely at ease with. Coogler's script efficiently draws inspiration from Stallone's Rocky, and John G. Rocky isn't even referenced once in Creed 3, which is interesting given that it's mainly about how the past and present influence the future. In Creed 3, filmmaker Jordan updates the franchise for a younger audience by focusing on young Adonis Creed's early years before we first encountered him in Creed. The Rocky film franchise will be completely rebranded in Creed 3 around the new character introduced in Creed 1. When his daughter's interest in fighting and struggles with bullies at school result in her being singled out by teachers, Adonis wants and understands he needs to be more present in his daughter's life. Creed 3 begins with a flashback to Donnie's youth and his connection with Dame Anderson, a budding boxing star who is more akin to Adonis than anything else. When we watch the young Adonis and his friendship with Damian Dame Anderson, a young Golden Gloves champion with nothing but future ahead of him, in 2002, before we first met Adonis in the opening moments of Creed, Creed 3 begins with emerging stars like Felix Chavez, a boxer who simply can't stop knocking out his sparring partners. Adonis is motivated in large part by his love for his family to put in such long hours training in the gym. Adonis is now playing in his final professional match before retiring when Damian, played by Jonathan Majors, abruptly enters his life and upends the cozy existence he has built for himself. Creed 3 is not a boxing movie. Instead, it is a story about family, including the families we are born into and those we find along the road, and the sacrifices we make for those we care about. One of Creed 3's main themes is how being a reliable person entails rising every day and making an effort to keep on top of one's obligations. When Dame pulls a gun, it disarms Adonis and the other man they were fighting with outside a convenience shop. Majors responds to Jordan's vigor with a simmering intensity reminiscent of his performance in Magazine Dreams. This movie presents the two as two sides of the same coin, to emphasize that this is now and only a story to carry into the future. Creed 3 grants Adonis the literal and existential titles that formerly distinguished Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa. The release of Creed 3 seems like a turning point in the franchise's development that highlights how much it has changed over the period of nearly 5 decades. In addition to demonstrating Dame's predicament and his annoyance at how Adonis completely neglected his friend, it also reveals that Creed wasn't wholly blameless in shaping who Dame would become. While Adonis in the movie may be avoiding the past, Jordan is carrying this franchise into a brand new generation and expanding this world in a way that makes it feel brand new once more. This movie celebrates the past while looking to the future, and it puts Jordan in the spotlight as both an actor and a director in a way that highlights his extraordinary talents. This film was simply so powerful, epic, moving, and occasionally badass. I don't believe I've ever watched a movie at the theater and sobbed along with it. I started crying halfway through because this was so profound. I started crying heavily towards the end. Just such a lovely plot, and such a lovely piece of writing. I adore how the movie put more emphasis on how the characters grow via their relationships and individual journeys. For those who, like my dad, grew up in the 1970s and wept during the first 2 Rocky movies, you would undoubtedly be acting similarly during Creed 3. You'll have a lot of emotional ups and downs as a result. Cast of Creed 2 did an amazing job,